Hello everyone. So in this video I'll discuss a general procedure to solve magnetic circuits. So just like you know how to solve electrical circuits, you should also know how to solve magnetic circuits. So I'll just quickly give you a diagram which you can use for understanding and studying the magnetic circuits. So later we will also compare with electric circuits and then try to draw some analogy which you will find in many books. Okay. So the first thing is uh, magnetomotive force, MMF. So this magnetomotive force is the one which is like the source. Just like in an electrical circuit, the voltage source creates voltage, or we call it electromotive force. In magnetic circuits, you have MMF, magnetomotive force, and the symbol for this is F, and which is nothing but N into I. Okay, I'll also show you all the notations separately. So N is the number of turns in the coil and I is the current flowing in the coil. So the product of this amperes into turns is ampere turns, which is the unit for MMS. So units I'll put it in AMP turns. In all cases I'll put in square brackets what are the units for each quantity. Now whenever an MMF is created, there will be magnetic field intensity, and the magnetic field intensity is denoted by symbol H. Okay, this is magnetic field intensity. So what is the relation between magnetic field intensity and the MMF? I think in my previous video I have explained this, so I refer you to see. So I just write the formula: ampere turns is equal to the line integral of H dot dl. Okay, so the magnetic field intensity is product of, it's made product across a line. Okay, so through that length it is multiplied, and then we get the ampere turns. Okay. So if H is constant, then integration of dl is nothing but L. So I get it H into L. Okay, so this is ampere turns. Okay. So now we can ask a question: what is the unit of H? So here you can see ampere turns is a unit on the left side, and length and product of H is there. So if I get the unit of length to this side, so the unit of H is ampere turns per meter. Okay. So ampere turns per meter is the unit of H. Okay. Now where is the story? The MMF creates a magnetic field intensity. Now whenever any material is placed inside a magnetic field, that material develops, or some flux is developed in that material. Okay, so this magnetic field gives rise to flux. Okay, so I can directly write flux like this. Symbol is phi. Or first I'll mention what is known as flux density. Okay, so flux density. Okay. So obviously flux density means density is like the flux per unit area. So the field intensity gives rise to flux density. Okay. So what is the mathematical equation? So B is equal to mu into H. Okay. Now if you look at it, it looks like these two are having a linear relationship, but that is only true for low values of flux density. After a point, the flux density cannot increase more, even though the magnetic density is increasing, magnetic field intensity is increasing. This linear relationship does not hold for all values, for small values. So now this concept is explained under the heading of BH curve, and that BH curve I have already explained in another video, in that my previous video, so I request you to see it. So usually the relation is like this. So on x-axis you have H and y-axis you have B. So in the initial part it's like a straight line, so this equation holds good here, but then on the later part this equation doesn't hold good. So depending on the circuit that you are solving, sometimes you can use this, or sometimes the data is given for the plot. So one of this you can use. Basically the idea is from H I can know what is B. Okay. So what is the unit of B? So the unit of B is nothing but flux density. Flux is measured in Webers and density is measured in area is measured in meter square. So Webers per meter square is a unit of flux density. It's also called Tesla. So 1 Tesla is equal to 1 Weber per 1 meter square. Okay. So that is about flux density. And this relation already I have told you, wherever there is a flux density, if I just simply divide by area, I get the flux. Okay, so flux equal to B by A. Okay, so where A is the area of cross section. And what is the unit of flux? Unit of flux is nothing but Webers. Okay. So what if you analyze the story? Magnetomotive force creates magnetic field intensity, and magnetic field intensity, when a certain material is kept inside that magnetic field intensity, that material experiences flux density, or it gives rise to flux. So indirectly magnetomotive force is giving rise to the flux. Okay. So now this is one path. Okay. There is another path which is there, that is you can also relate magnetomotive force and flux by another simple expression, which I denote by symbol R. So R with some a small line coming out of R. This is called reluctance. Okay. Reluctance. So now the reluctance is determined by the material, again, whatever material that is there. So this is the reluctance of the magnetic path. Okay. So that is reluctance. Now the reluctance is measured in ampere turns per Weber. That is a unit of reluctance. And what is the relation between all these three? It's nothing but ampere turns is nothing but reluctance into flux. Okay. So this is nothing but MMF equal to reluctance into flux. Okay. Now if you want to really get an analogy, so the analogy can be, I'll just write this one. So this is voltage, or in other words EMF, electromotive force, and this is resistance, and this is the current. Okay. So if voltage is given and the resistance of the circuit is given, then you can calculate what is the current. So similarly, if voltage and current are given, you can find what is the resistance, and similarly if the resistance and the current are given, you can find what is the voltage. Of course, the other path, there is also an analogy for that. So this is electric field intensity denoted by E, and then this is the current density denoted by J. But then typically in electrical circuit problems, we don't we don't solve many problems using this electric field intensity and current density and etc. Because in the circuits we just simply use the circuit parameters like resistance and reactance and inductance and capacitance and so on. So but in the magnetic circuits, the two ways are possible. So either I can start with MMF, calculate H, calculate B, and then calculate flux, or calculate MMF and R and then find the flux. So in any case, the objective is to find the unknowns from the knowns. Okay. So if the MMF is given, then you may have to find the flux, or if the flux is required, like what will be the MMF required to generate so much of flux? That might be the question. Then you can calculate the MMF. Overall, the objective of this short video was to just introduce you to these terms. Okay. So I hope I have discussed units and most of the things. Okay, so I think a little bit about this factor mu. Okay, so this mu is nothing but permeability of the material. Okay, so mu is nothing but mu naught into mu r. So where mu naught is absolute permeability and mu r is relative permeability. Okay, so what is the value for absolute permeability? It is 4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 7. So this is the constants. So I think the unit of this quantity is Webers per ampere turn meter. Okay, so if you just go by this, you know the unit of B, you know the unit of H. So the unit of mu will be based, you can calculate based on the other two. Okay, so let me quickly do that. What is the unit of mu? So unit of B is Webers per meter square, and unit of H, if I go in that side, it will just reverse it. So it is ampere turns per meter, it will become meters per ampere turns. So meters will cancel, Webers per ampere turn meter. So that's what I have written here, unit of mu. Now this value, absolute permeability, is for space, okay, or air also you can take. Now relative permeability is, now compared to that, what is this? So this is a unitless quantity, it's just a factor. Okay, so for example, it is 1 for air. Okay. So more relative permittivity values we will see while we solve the problems. So I think this is just the procedure. So let's continuously solve some problems, and in this, everywhere we solve, we use this as a map to understand what is given, what is not given, and how we can solve it. Okay, so we'll see more problems on this.